Hello, hello, friends. It's Kristen here, and we've got something different today for me, especially, and I might have bitten off a little more than I can chew, but I'm going to give it a go, and I'm going to see what happens. So what am I talking about? I'm going to be working on trying to do this herringbone stitch style bracelet with our new Rola beads and some soft touch, very fine beading wire. Yeah, so this is pretty new for me. I don't bead weave. I have only done the Russian spiral once with my good friend Sarah Ayler. She taught a bead and button class, and I was her assistant, and so I needed to learn that, and I did, and it was fun, and I enjoyed it. But I really I don't dabble in bead weaving, but this herringbone stitch trend with the Rola beads has been kind of happening over at Soft Touch Company and over in our VIB Studio Facebook group, and I wanted to give it a go. So this is going to be a design from a total novice, and maybe it's something you might want to try too. So for those of you that are just joining me, hi, I'm Kristen Fagan. I'm here with Soft Touch Company, and this is a new episode of Free Spirit Beading. I'm live here on Mondays at 1 p.m. Pacific time on the Soft Touch Company Facebook page and YouTube channel. And I've been doing this this weekly show now for, gosh, maybe 3 years. Crazy. I've got a few friends hopping on. Hi, Gail. Hi, Zach. Oh, hi, Gloria. I did enjoy my vacation. Thank you. But I might look extra laxed because I'm kind of beading in my pajamas today. This is one of those, you have those pajamas that are like, they're pajamas, but I sometimes wear them out of the house. That's what this is. And yeah, I bit off a little more than I can chew because I was teaching myself and learning from the beading party we had a couple of weeks ago on Soft Touch Company's YouTube channel with our friend Danielle. Was learning how to do this morning. And so I was having such a good time. I'm beading along and doing my thing. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I have to send today's email because Damien and I both send the emails. And I was like, oh, I got to send today's email. I haven't even started it yet because I've been over here having a good time bead weaving. And so I barely ate. I am in my pajamas. My hair's in a bun, and I'm just showing up as a beader that just got carried away today. Hey, Gloria. Hi, Sally. Hi, Melanie. Oh, good. You get to join me today. You don't typically get to see us live. Hello. Hi, Donna. And then Damien shared our video with Danielle where she taught how to do this herringbone stitch. Zach says, it's all right. You still look happy. Well, I'm always happy in my pajamas, right? I don't know. As a kid, I used to go to concerts in my pajamas. I've always really loved being in my pajamas. It's so nice that now they have some cute ones that I can get away with wearing my pajamas outside of the house occasionally. And, maybe they toe the line sometimes, but that's all right. Stacy says, love working in PJs. I know, me too. Me too. Penny says, nothing like just-in-time training. I know. I got a little nervous about how to end the bracelet. So we're going to do the stitch, and I think I figured out how to end the one side for the toggle, but I'm not so sure about the other side. And so we'll just see what happens. And you guys can take a look at our beading party a couple weeks ago with Danielle for the pro. And I did make mine a little bit smaller. I wanted to make it a little easier on myself. And so I did 2 colors. So there's 2 columns instead of 3 or 4. Melanie says it's called loungewear. Yes, completely. I'm in loungewear. That's what it is. So softflexcompany.com has a bead sale going on this week until tomorrow, October 18th at midnight Pacific time. You can get 20% off on all of our beads, and that includes things that are already discounted. So it could be up to 50% off if something's already discounted, such as a closeout item or a sale item or our bead bundles. So speaking about our bead bundles, I'm going to be using the Rola beads today, and we've got a ton of colors. You can buy them individually and you'll get 20% off of any color that you purchase up until tomorrow. Or you can buy the bundle, which the bundle is 30% off if you get all of the colors, and then you'll get an extra 20% off, making it like 44%, I think, is what it comes out to. So that's a pretty sweet deal. We have a couple of bundles left on the website, not a ton, but there are a couple. So if you're looking for those super smoking deals, check out what we've got left in the bundles, and then just check out all of our beads. We've got so many beads online. It's crazy. Yeah, I've got a new painting. It's actually a really old painting. Not really old, but probably a year old. And it's one that I just can't seem to finish. Zach is asking, is that a new painting on the easel? So she's a little goddess over there. I think she's kind of a fire goddess, and she's got some moths around her. But her face, I don't know. I just feel like color-wise, there's not enough contrast between her and the background. And so I don't know which one to change, the background or her. And I've just been stuck. So I keep putting her back on the easel, thinking that, inspiration will strike and I'll get to finish her. But she just kind of sits there until something else goes up, and then she goes back. We all have those unfinished projects, right? She's just kind of an unfinished project. But I love so many things about her. I don't know. I've even thought, well, maybe she is done, and I put her on the wall somewhere else, and then I end up putting her back on the easel. So I don't know. We'll see. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for her. Anything else going on this week? Oh my gosh, we have the Great Bead Extravaganza happening. That's what's going on this weekend. We've got the Fall Fest. It kicks off with a preview party on Friday. You can find all the details at the Great Bead Extravaganza Facebook page and Facebook group. And all of the presentations will be available on the Facebook page and the Facebook group through the weekend. That's going to be really exciting. Soft Flex Company is on Saturday. I think we're 1:30 p.m. Pacific time is our presentation. And I'm going to be working with our Fall Fest Pantone kit, which I think we've got 6 left. So we're almost sold out on that kit. Just 6 remaining as of this morning. And yeah, I don't even know what I'm going to do yet because mine hasn't arrived. So I think it should be here. I think it'll probably end up in the mail today or tomorrow because I know it was mailed to me yesterday. Sarah and I were laughing because I was like, wait a minute, I don't think I got that in my mailbox yet. And she was like, oh, I don't think I have it either. I'm like, well, we need the kit. We have to play with it. We got to design with it. So we caught it just in case, just in time, I should say, because we're down to 6. Could you, that would be a first if neither Sarah nor I got the kit put aside for us and they all sold out. But I have mine coming, so I know it'll be here, and I'm excited for the Great Bead Extravaganza. I've got the whole weekend that I'll be available for it, and trying to watch as many things as I can along with all of you, because it's fun for us as much as it is fun for all of you. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to the Great Bead Extravaganza on Facebook. We also have a YouTube channel, so you can check it out there if you're on YouTube. Not all the presentations link to YouTube, but I think more and more of them are doing it as they are able. Melanie says, laugh out loud, I have mine. Yeah. Yeah, that would have been really funny. That would have been very interesting if all of a sudden we were like, oh, we sold out and neither of us have the kit to use. So that's exciting. That's happening this weekend, all day Saturday and Sunday. You can find the schedule over at the Great Bead Extravaganza page, and it is a virtual bead show. So there's demonstrations, there's sales. Everyone's got like an hour and a half time slot to do their presentation. It's really a blast. In addition to that, I think we've got a beading party on Wednesday. So check in with us on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Mark it on your calendar for our next beading party. Yeah, so that'll be a lot of fun too. All right, let's get going. I'm stalling because I'm nervous. I'm nervous about this one. I hope I can remember what I just learned. Let me just move I'm getting a little bit of sun hitting me. So here's my piece I did this morning, and there's definitely some space here. I always find that when I first try something, it's tough to get your tension right. And I think I needed to pull my wire a little tighter. It's still okay. And I did use white. So on this dark blue bead, it's a little jarring. Whereas if I'm going to use black with today's example, but I used white first because I just wasn't sure how much black I had here and if I was going to run out. And so I wanted to kind of use a different color. So I didn't run out at all. So those are some things to note, is that your wire is going to go around the outside of your bead. So in hindsight, I probably should have swapped these colors and put the dark blue in the center and the light blue on the outside, and then you wouldn't be noticing that quite as much as you do on this sample. But, that's what you do when you're learning. You realize, swapping that might have been a good idea based on the wire color that I was using. So now I'm using black. If I had used black on this one, the dark blue would have been just fine on the outside. It actually probably would have been better on the outside because you wouldn't see it as much. So if I'm going to be using these two colors, the copper and the turquoise, I'm thinking I'll have the copper on the outside and the turquoise on the inside. That's just what my feeling is. And then I've got one of these little copper, hammered copper toggles. You can find these at softluxcompany.com. They come in 4 different metal tones. I'm going to use the copper because I've got these copper Rola beads, but they also come in a bright gold, an antique brass, and then the white. I think this one's called white bronze, which is like the silver color. And then I'm going to use 2 colors of Rola beads. I'm using the copper and the turquoise. I think it's called turquoise on our website. These were the 2 colors I used in my first example. And all 4 of these are available at softluxcompany.com, and you can actually get the bundle, which I think has like, excuse me, 8 or 9 maybe colors. maybe 10. I can't remember how many there were total in that. And we're going to be using beading wire to do this bead stitch, which is really wild. So I'm using Soft Touch Beading Wire in our very fine, which is 0.010. It's the thinnest diameter that we make, and it's a stainless steel core. And then this one comes in the satin silver, black, and white. So those are the 3 color options you have to work with. And I'm going to use black for today's example. This is a 100-foot spool. We do sell them in smaller spools. I think we've got them in 10, 30, and 100. But if you are going to be bead weaving, you probably should go with at least a 30 or 100 because you want to have a lot of wire available to you. If you're not familiar with our Soft Touch, it came out shortly after our original, which is the Soft Flex beading wire. However, it is 50% softer and more flexible. It goes through an additional process in the manufacturing to make it really supple and more thread-like. It's still a stainless steel beading wire, so it's not entirely the same as thread, but it works and moves a little more thread-like than our original Soft Flex beading wire. Both have the same stainless steel core though. And the Very Fine was created for stringing super small gemstone beads, for doing embellishing, and for doing weaving and crocheting. So I'm going to cut, for this little sample here, I used 60 inches of beading wire. And this gave me, if we just look at sort of the woven part of it here, this gave me about 4 inches total, including this little part for the clasp. So I know that we can add wire pretty easily. So you could go ahead and stick with 60 inches and then just add more wire as you need it. To do that, you would need to use these teeny tiny little 1x1 millimeter crimp tubes and a pair of micro crimping pliers, which look like this. They look just like those regular crimping pliers, except the little notches up here are itty bitty for those one by one crimp tubes. So you need a micro crimper and some 1x1 crimp tubes on hand for you to go ahead and add any stringing wire to this process. Or you can do more, but it does get cumbersome when you've got a lot of wire. However, I'm thinking of just pulling out a lot and seeing what happens. So I've got 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. So what if I doubled it? 105. 120. So what if I doubled it? I'm going to try and double it and see if it feels like way. Oh, it does already. It does already feel way too long. Okay, I'm going to go back to 60 like our friend suggested, because that's what I did the first time, and then just add on. Because, yeah, that's a lot of wire. I'm going to cut this in half. And then what I'm going to do is just sort of roll the part I'm not using. I'm just going to roll it up like so. And then I just take the little tails and poke them in my circle. And this way I could put this aside and have it ready for me when I need it. So now I've got 60 inches of the very fine Soft Touch beading wire. And I got to leave a nice sized tail, about 10 inches. So I'm just going to stick a little bead stopper there at the 10-inch mark. So I've got a 10-inch tail. And then we start out by doing like a ladder stitch. And what did I say? We'll do the copper on the outside. So every 2 beads is a column, and we're going to do 2 columns. So I want to do copper and turquoise will be my first column, and turquoise and copper will be my second column. And that would be, so here's one column are these 2, and then here's the other column are the other 2. So I'm going to start and pick up the outside first. I'm going to pick up my copper, and then I'm going to pick up my turquoise and just string them down towards my bead stopper. And then I'm going to take this side of the wire coming out of the turquoise, and I'm going to go back around through the copper. Just like so. And then I'm going to reinforce it. I'm going to go back through once more. Being careful not to catch everything on your beading table. So I went through the, see how there's the loop there? I went through the turquoise, and then I'm going to come back up through the copper again. And so I went around twice, 2 circles. And now I want to do, well, I guess I want to go around 1.5, right? Because I need to kind of add on to here. So it's going to pop back up, and that's okay. So now we'll grab our beads from the next column, which is turquoise, and then copper. Give it a good tug. Yeah, thank you. Let me give it a good tug. Yeah, it's sort of popping back up, so I'm gonna hold those 2 pieces together. And we're only doing this on the first row. After that, then you start the actual herringbone stitch, which comes together really quickly. So I've got the 2 more. I'm going to feed back through that turquoise. I know, I was thinking that, yeah, pliers, anything that's around, it kind of catches. Oh, pick up only 1 bead. You're right, Melanie. I was just thinking that as I pulled it up. I'm like, oh, I have to do a ladder stitch first. It's just the 1 bead. I'm so glad you're here to help. Okay, so give that a good tug, pick up the one bead, and now we're going to go back through the turquoise bead that's next to it, making a circle 1.5 times again. And now that should, unless I went in the wrong way. Oh, Nelly, we're off to a start. Okay, so here's where I'm at. I'm pulling everything apart again. So I've got the first two done. Now I'm stringing on the third one, and I need to go up and through that turquoise beads. So we'll just erase that everything else that came before that. Thank you. I'm glad you have my back, Melody. I don't know what I'm doing. So, I mean, I wasn't kidding when I said a true novice is going to be given this a try. Okay, that makes sense because you want it to be lining up like ladder stitch. So now I'm going to come back through so that my wire is pointing up. So it's 1.5 times around that bead before it. And then I'm going to grab the copper bead. Stacy says, glad you're a human like the rest of us. For sure. I am fiddling my way through it, right? Okay, so now I got to take my end and go back down this turquoise one. Woo. And then I'm going to reinforce these because they kind of start to fall on top of each other if you don't. So I'm going to go back through again. Go back through this one. It's really nice that these bead holes are huge on the Rola bead so that you can go back through so many times. Okay, so I'm going to go back. Now that I've got the 4 on here, I'm just going to kind of go back and forth to reinforce them and make them a little bit straighter. Aha, there we go. And this length of wire is probably as long as I would suggest because it's kind of like my wingspan. Woo-wee, we got it. So we've got all 4 of the rows, and I went back up and down each one like a turn and a half to get back to this part here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the color that it's coming out of and then the color that we're going into. This way, if you're using different colors, it makes sense. So I'm going to pick up a copper because that's the color it's coming out of. The wire is coming out of. And pick up a copper. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Rolling away. And then pick up a turquoise because that's the one we're going to go into. Okay, so see I've got a copper and a turquoise coming out of that one, going into this one. And that is your first pass on doing your herringbone stitch. So now I'm going to go back up through the next bead, which is this turquoise one here. And I'm going to pick up the color I'm coming out of, which is the turquoise, and the color I'm going into. So turquoise first, then copper. And then I feed it down that copper bead. Oh, Janelda, you missed all the silliness in the beginning because I don't know what I'm doing. So now we've got our first little row of the herringbone stitch. And now I'm going to go up through this copper bead here. So this is a little step out. So you skip the bead your wire's coming out of, and you go up through the next one. And then you can do your next two beads. Melanie is cheering me on. She said, I'm doing great. Now this is where it gets fun because at this point you just repeat this and it gets real relaxing. You pick up the color you're coming out of, which is the copper, and then the color you're going into, which is the turquoise. And then you feed that wire back down through the turquoise. And then you're going to go up through the next one here. Up through the next turquoise. This kind of starts to look a little bit like a backbone or a spine to me. So I feel like you're kind of making that bridge to go from those two beads to these two beads. The beginning is always squiggly, Melanie says. It is. A lot of times I find that with knitting and crocheting projects too. I think bead weaving is the same way. You kind of got to get those beads started and in place, and then it sort of becomes a little easier as it comes together. And then you go down, and now we're going to do that step up again because we want our wire to be pointing up. So we go up through this last bead here on the end. And then we do the same thing again. I was curious if we could do this with thicker diameters, but I decided to start where we knew it was working. It might not work so well as you get on to those larger diameters. But I do feel like these Rola beads are so have such big holes that maybe a fine would work. I don't know. The soft touch is super lovely though. I don't get to use it that much because I'm always focusing on the medium diameter wires and all the different Softlex colors. But for this kind of project, the soft touch is just super lovely. So again, if you ever lose your space, you just look at where your wire is coming out of. For this pattern anyway, my wire is coming out of turquoise and it's going to go into copper. So that's how you know what to pick up next. So here's where my tension definitely got a little loose on my first example. So I don't know how, maybe when I'm doing the step up is when you kind of give it a nice little tug. To help pull it back together. Like right here, that's probably what I need to do, is right here, give it a nice little tug, and then keep that tension tighter as I go up. And then it hopefully will stay. So you'll see I kind of started out tighter here, and then as I went along, I got looser and looser. But it's kind of fun how it pulls when you've got a little looser. So it gives you a little bit of a flex. Oh, so now that my bead stopper moved away, kind of pull it in tight. Melanie is suggesting. Pull that in tighter to your bead, your last bead, and then you'll have a little more tension, so it won't fall. They won't fall away quite as much. Good tip. Melissa says, Melanie, you typed faster than me. Yeah. It's nice to have a few of you on here that know this stitch and can help me out. And for those of you that do know it, Melanie and Melissa, have you tried it with beading wire before? Marisol said she bought some of the Soft Touch and she loves it. Yeah, it's really, really pretty. If you're someone that does projects kind of like this, or if you do multi-strand necklaces, things that have need a lot of beautiful drape, or if you do things where you just, you're covering all of the wire, so you don't, in that design, you don't need a color. You might need, you might prefer more to have that softer drape. Soft Touch is really, I think, in a league of its own with that. Okay, so now that I'm going to do my step up, I'm just going to tug a little harder, try and get my beads to stay a little closer together, and then go up through that copper bead on the end. Oh, I can see how this can be super addicting. We've been focusing on these patterns like this, which is a nice simple pattern for a beginner, I think. But those of you that have done herringbone before, are there other patterns out there? Are there a lot of patterns for this particular stitch in terms of changing out the colors and the placement? Melissa says, I have sold many bracelets, necklaces, bracelets, and earrings, but always with Fireline, never with Soft Flex or Soft Touch. I've been waiting for this tutorial, but I missed like the first 10 minutes. I didn't really do a whole lot the first 10 minutes. And actually, we had a great tutorial with our friend Danielle Wicks a couple weeks ago, probably 2 weeks ago. It was a beading party. And she is like such a great teacher. And that is what I watched before I taught myself just this morning, my first little sample. So I'd highly suggest checking that out as well. It's on the Soft Flex Company YouTube channel. Melissa says, yeah, it's basically your own color combos. And Melanie says, oh yeah, she'll upload one of her pieces to the Facebook group. Yay. Yes, please do. I'd love to see some options. Janelda says she is a guru of beading. She is. She comes up with some really lovely designs. And she's just very patient and a great teacher. Melanie says you can use smaller beads to cover up the thread. Step up makes the bracelet more fun. Oh, yeah. So you can use like a little seed bead or something on the side here to cover up the step up. Maybe a couple of seed beads. Cute. That's a cool idea. I'll have to try that on one of my future designs. Melissa does tons of peyote too. And she said soft flex would be so much more cost effective. Yeah, I think we didn't really realize that you could use it as well as you can for these bead weaving projects until recently, until our friend Danielle started saying, well, yeah, why not? Oh, what did I do? Did I do what I'm supposed to do? That feels weird. I think I just have to pull it a little tighter. Yeah. It was just a little loose. Oh, the wire's getting a little bit more easy to handle. All right, so I'm going to pick up another copper. It's pretty fun to think about all of the possibilities. So these are Rola beads. They are, I think they are 4.5 millimeters. So the closest seed bead size I think is 6, but this would be a little bit larger than a 6. And they have more of a cylinder shape. So they are slightly different. But I think they're really nice to learn on because they are so large and the holes are so large that you could go in and out with your wire multiple times. And they kind of work up really fast. Oh, yeah, that's a really good point, Marisol. Marisol is saying, I love that you can back out and then go back in. Yeah, for someone like me, I totally agree because there's a lot of times where I'm not paying attention or I just do something a little bit off. And then, being able to back out and go back in easily makes a big difference. How pretty is this copper color? I really like it. I used it as a spacer bead in a design we did a couple of weeks ago. Melissa says, if you hold all 4 rows together, it helps with the tension too. Yeah, I've been kind of letting it hang out. So by holding them a little bit more tightly, that'll help with my tension. I think it's definitely going better on this second example than my first one. Plus I'm using black wire, which while I like the white wire in some situations, you do see it a little bit more. So you're going to notice that tension, I think, being off a little bit more with the white. And then there's also satin silver color, which if I was using like some sterling beads or silver or pewter, that would probably be a good option. So does that mean you are, when you say to hold them together, does that mean you prefer like keeping it in your hands as you work on it versus laying it flat? There we go. This is looking so pretty. I'm gonna love, I love turquoise with pretty much anything, but I do really love turquoise and copper. Melissa says yes, she prefers to hold onto it while she's working so that it keeps the tension a little tighter. So what's everyone been up to? Did you guys have a nice weekend? How is I know I'm in Arizona and the weather has just been like lovely. We had a bunch of rain on Saturday. We had like a storm kind of come through and tons of rain. So my plants are all very happy outside. And it's just been like perfect to get out and take a walk in the morning. And oh, what a difference it is now to just a few weeks ago. I love when I get to go out for a walk and it just feels nice and I don't come back like a big sweaty mess. So yes, I did go for a walk this morning in my pajamas or my AKA loungewear I have on. Because it's definitely, I even stopped at the store. I stopped at the store this morning too. Yeah, this is definitely one of those outfits that I'm like, I feel like I can get away with going out. I needed some creamer. So I went and did that too. No shame in my loungewear game. Except those are definitely the times where you like run into someone, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in forever. And now I'm out here in my PJs. Melly's asking, where in Arizona are you? I'm in Mesa. I'm in Mesa, Arizona. I've lived in this area for the last probably 15 years, 16 years. But I've also lived in, I lived in Goodyear, which is way in the West Valley. I lived in Tempe. I lived in Gilbert. Yeah, right? Exactly. Melissa says, who cares? As long as you're comfortable. Melissa is making Halloween jewelry and getting ready to have a restock for her first craft fair on November 12th. Oh, craft fair season. So fun. I know they're probably going to be back in full force, I would think, this year for the first time. Really. Oh, Melanie says her sister is going to a wedding in Scottsdale. Scottsdale's very pretty. A lot of beautiful places to have a wedding in Scottsdale. That'll be great. And it's such a nice time to be visiting. Depending on where you're coming from, you'd probably still be ready to go swimming and stuff in the pool because it's still warm. It's just not as warm. And a lot of times pools will be heated and stuff at hotels. But also a great time of year to be outside and hiking and seeing the sights. I feel like my neighborhood people are like out again, and it doesn't feel like we're all hibernated up like we are for the summer. Oh, she's in New York City. That's where I am from. That's where my family all is too. They're actually on Long Island, but I spent so much time in the city. I went to school in the city. I worked in the city. It's been so long now. She's going to have a good time, and she's going to feel great, I think, with the weather. It won't be too hot for those New Yorkers. My family comes in the summer a lot because my sister's a teacher and I have a nephew, but they're always like, it's so hot. And I'm like, well, stop coming in July. Luckily, they like the pool. Marisol says, us Arizona folks wear shorts and t-shirts and sleepwear all the time. Yep, all the way up to December. And then we have maybe a few weeks of winter, I know, and then we're back. I know, it's so nice. I always say right now is when I start to remember why I live here, because there's those summer months, man. It's tough to remember sometimes. You go, oh my gosh, it's so impressive. Yeah, Lydia says a time to enjoy before the snowbirds arrive. Yeah, and then it gets real busy. That's true. A lot of people show up this time of year. What's so far apart? Are my beads feeling like they're far apart? Maybe because I'm not going back through them. Like if you wanted to kind of do a loop and go back through, maybe that would tighten them up a little bit more. But the pattern I'm not going back through them at all. I do know that beading wire is going to kind of pull away a little bit. So it could also be that I'm still not that great with my tension. But I do know when I worked on this sample, they were way more far apart than what I've got going on here. So I'm moving in the right direction. Melissa is in South Florida. Melanie says, where? Brooklyn girls who spent time in Northport. Very nice. I'm from Hicksville. That's where I grew up. I actually was born and raised in Levittown, New York for a little while until we moved to Hicksville when I was in elementary. And then we lived in Hicksville my whole adult life. My parents are from East Meadow, which is just a town over. That's where they originally are from. And And then, of course, I have family all over the island. So I know Northport. I have an aunt and uncle that used to live there when I was growing up. They're now in Massapequa Park area. Janelda is saying Q-tips. I don't know what you're talking about, Janelda. What did I miss? Ooh, someone's going to Knoxville tomorrow. I've never been to Knoxville. Lydia says herringbone is typically a little loose. Okay. Good to know. Oh, the same as snowbirds. I gotcha. That went over my head. I was just like, Q-tips? What are we talking about? What did I miss? Ooh. So I was hoping to make a bracelet today, but I'm definitely slow-mo G here. I know this works up a lot quicker than I'm probably doing since I'm still kind of new to this. And I'm chit-chatting. Oh, Melissa's outside of West Palm Beach. I have friends in that area. We went and visited a couple years ago, probably 2018, I think. We took a family trip down there and went to Disney World and stuff, and then went and stayed with some friends in West Palm Beach. So nice. I definitely can see how holding it in your hand and pulling them together makes a big difference. Especially I'm doing it every time before I do that step up. And I think that helped my tension tremendously. Yeah, look, I mean, this is only my second time trying. I only tried, my first time was this morning at like 10 o'clock this morning. So I'm really happy with how well this is coming along. I definitely wouldn't have thought to tackle this project. This wasn't something that I would be like, oh yeah, I can do that. So it's been really fun to try. Mary says she loves Knoxville. She went to school there and really miss the mountains, particularly this time of year. Yeah, I was just talking about Tennessee with my husband the other day because it's oh, I lost that. Lost my bead. Because it has a little split in it. That's the first time I saw that. And I've never been to that area. I'd love to see it someday. It feels really quaint. Oh, Melanie says, as a city girl, she never learned to drive. Yeah, I didn't get my license until I moved to Arizona. I never drove in New York, even though I am from the suburbs, and most people did definitely drive. I just really wasn't interested, and I worked in the city and went to school in the city, so I would just take the bus to the train, and then back the train to the bus back home. It wasn't until I moved to Arizona when I was 20 that I was like, well, I guess it's time. I took the bus a little bit when I first moved here. And it's just not, it's not quite as convenient here as it was there. Everything's so spread out. But Uber, I'm sure, has made a huge difference. Why did I pick that one? Okay, so I'm definitely not going to finish this on camera here, but I can show you what you do when you get to the end, and then I'll just try and back it back out afterwards and keep going. Hi, Mary. My little dog, Mary Bear, is being real chatty. So what you do when you get to the end is you want to kind of go back through on that top row to make it like the ladder stitch again. So I'm going to go up that step up just like we've been doing. Then I'm going to go down. I know, I forgot to leave the door open. I do usually leave the door open outside when I do my video so that if any of the dogs need to go, they can. And I'm going to come back around and just go back up through that first bead. And then I'm going to go back down the next one. And then I'm going to go up the one next to that. So that pulls together. And then I'm going to go down, make that circle, come back up again. I like that fact too. Janelda says, I like the fact you don't need a needle. I do think that's pretty nice. And then I want to go back up to this one. You're just kind of reinforcing these a lot so that they straighten out and really kind of hug each other. That Mary Bear, she's so vocal. She's definitely one of the animals, the little doggies that we've had that is so, she's so vocal. She's always talking. Or more whining. She's very whiny. We had another dog, a golden retriever. She's no longer with us, but she was more talkative. She would actually sound like she was saying things to you. Mary cries. Oh, thanks, Melissa. And she's all caps too. This is Kristen. I'm so glad you tackled this project as I want to learn more bead weaving with the awesome Softlex, and you have done a tremendous job. Oh, we got some Jersey girls here. Blue Ridge, Georgia, Mary saying, if you want to see quaint, our hometown of 1,200 people in the mountains. Oh, that sounds lovely. Okay, so once you've got that part ended, then you've got to add your clasp. And this part kind of blows my mind. If I remember correctly, I think she did 2 beads. And I'm using the turquoise because it's in the center color. And then you go through your clasp, your toggle clasp, and then you go back down just one of the beads. And mine might look a little different because I'm doing a smaller. So you add a 3rd bead here. You kind of want this to fall into the center, but let's see what happens when I now take this down through. Yeah, so now you've got a nice little triangle. So did you guys see what I did there? So I strung on 2 beads. Let me back out now that I know that I did it okay. So I strung on the 2 beads, then I strung on the toggle. Then you go back through one of those beads, the closest one to the toggle. You pull that down. And then you string on another turquoise bead or whatever bead you're using in your center. And now I'm going to go down this one right here. And now it gives me this nice little triangle effect. Oh, Donna used to live in Mesa. And now this is where things get really wild for me because I'm just always used to crimping. And in this case, we're not going to crimp anything. We're just going to keep feeding this through. So we're going to find, so we're coming out of this bead here. We're going to go in between the beads to one of those little spine areas. Maybe I'll come to the next one, kind of go up and through it and create, just pull that through. And you can even go and pull it through again so you come out the other side. And then I'm going to do that with the next one below it too. So I'm going to go through those beads. I'm grabbing a hold of the beading wire that's there. I'm going through the beads. Under, did I go under? I went under, right? Yeah, under the beading wire that's there. And then this way I can go back over it and it kind of creates, so it's creating like a hook. It's grabbing a hold of that. And now I'm just going to go, I'm going to feed it through one more time and have it pull out the other side. And then go back up through some of these beads here. And from what I learned is doing like 3, go back through some beads and do like 3, I guess they're called turns maybe. And so any of these like skip. I'm trying to not get through that one. There we go. So if I go up there and then from here, I'm just going to go, I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason. I think the point is really just creating strength so that your wire is not going to come flying out. So you're kind of going up and down. It's probably good that some of these are so tight, but I'm having a hard time finding the next one to go through. Ooh, 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 did I get it? I'll go to this one. This is probably somewhere where I need a little extra finessing, but the point of this is to go up and down and catch it a bunch of times so that trying for 3. So I did 2. That would be considered another one. And then maybe I'll go down. Half hitch knots. Yes. I don't know any of the terms, so that was very helpful. Thank you. Oh, you don't want to do that. So you don't want to do that. See, what I just did now is I went down a bunch of beads. You want to stay close to where you're at, because otherwise you see that wire in like a weird place, and that's not what we're going for. We want it to kind of disappear. I am using, Nancy, I'm using Soft Touch Very Fine Beading Wire. And I just cut off the end because my end was getting a little ratty and not so straight. So I just cut off the little tip, and now I was able to get back down. Way better. So, and then I'm just going to trim it off once I feel like I've gone through enough spaces. That is so wild to me because I'm just like, my mind is like crimp, crimp, crimp. So there we go. We've got that end done. And then I'll have to continue on to make this longer and then finish off the other end. I don't know exactly how, but I'll have to get this toggle on this side. And I think I can crimp in that case once I make this longer. And obviously I don't have enough. What do you guys think of that? What if I started from here and went the other way? Would that be okay? Even though this is kind of an end point? What if I made that sort of a middle and just added more wire to this end? Or do you think I have to start over? Because if I can add wire to this end, I'll just show you how to do that, and then we'll stop for today. I'll have to keep going on my other side. So what you'd want to do is take this teeny tiny little 1x1 crimp, string it onto your very fine beading wire, and then take the other wire. Oh, my beads will go opposite. Would that be okay? Use the wire you have and do the 3 beads again. I don't mean for the toggle. I mean if I want to continue and make my bracelet longer, because this is just like a half size right here. I think that, oh, you're saying when I put the toggle, when I put the other end here, just do it the same way I did on this side, and then I don't have to crimp on that side either. Perfect. Yes. All right, well, I'm going to show you how to do this, and I'll give it a try and see what happens. So you've got your 1x1 strung onto the tail of the piece that's here, and then I'm going to take the other end and string it back through. So they're going in each direction right now. And then you're going to use that teeny tiny micro crimper to crimp. So this crimper has the same notches as the regular crimper. They're just teeny tiny. So you've got the back notch, which is your crimper, and the front notch, which is your rounder. You place your crimp in the back notch first, and you crimp it so it gets that little divot. So hard to see when it's this small, but it creates a little divot, like a little C shape. And then you'll place in your rounder 90 degrees. So you're coming in the other direction, and then you will crimp it down, round it. And I usually like to round it a few times. Just sort of spin and round it. And that helps the crimp to cinch down into that nylon, and it also kind of helps form the shape. So I don't know if you can see that, but there's our little crimp connection. And it's so tiny that it'll just eventually disappear in your beads. I don't know if you want to, I don't even know if I want to trim it that much. Like normally I'll trim the wire all the way down to the crimp, but I might just leave it kind of there and see what happens. You can always trim if it's sticking out a little bit, you can always trim it then. So that's how you add wire if you need to add wire. Oh yeah, I would like that. So here Lydia is saying like, right, your herringbone is in a bit of a V pattern, and right now it's going like in this direction, kind of like a greater than sign. When I go this way, it's going to go the opposite direction, like a less than sign, which, hey, may look really nice. I'm going to give it a try and see what happens and see what I think. Because I can always cut it and start over again. Sylvia said, could you add wire at a focal that might cover the crimp and then continue its stitching? Also would add to the design. Yeah, that's an option to give a try. I know that this crimp is like itty bitty and it'll just disappear in your design once you get going. So I don't think you have to worry about covering it. But that could be a design idea if you want to do something with a focal and purposefully cover it. Melissa says, yep, it might even spiral. Yeah, we'll see. All right, it's going to be an experiment to see what happens as I continue on the other side. I will share a picture of my finished piece in the Softlex VIB Studio group, and maybe I'll even have it available to show you quickly on Saturday during the Great Bead Extravaganza. So I'll probably continue with it today. Hopefully I'll finish it this afternoon. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. It was a lot of fun to try something brand new to me, and I so appreciate the help from you all in the comments as I went about my bead weaving way. It was really good to have the support. So I really appreciate that. I love all of you. I'm looking forward to the Great Bead Extravaganza weekend and hope to see you all on Saturday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time with me and Sarah and Softlex Company. And then I'll also catch you in the comments as the weekend goes on, because I can't wait to see what everyone has in store as well. Thanks for all the love. Cal says you did a great job. Zach says, thanks, darling. Great job. Looks amazing from Melissa. Thank you, guys. Yeah, it was fun. I always like trying something new. It's great to keep learning and stretching yourself, right? And this project was way more intimidating looking than it actually was. So super fun. If you've never tried bead weaving before, grab some Soft Touch very fine wire and some of these Rola beads from softluxcompany.com and give it a go because it kind of works up really fast. Remember, all of our beads are on sale, 20% off. And I don't even think I said it in the beginning, but we're doing a free gift also. So we're doing, we started it yesterday. Yeah, for Spooky Sunday. We have some sweet ceramic skeleton beads. And for every order up until Tuesday, tomorrow, or while supplies last, every retail or designer order will get a pair of the spooky skeleton beads. No minimum purchase needed, just $1 and up basically, and you will have those free beads in your cart. So you'll get free beads, free little skeleton beads for the holiday, and you'll definitely have them in time because we've got a couple of weeks left, and all of our beads are 20% off. So check us out at softluxcompany.com. Join us on Wednesday for a beading party at 3 p.m. And we have a beads, I didn't even say it. Oh my gosh, we have a live sale tomorrow. I totally forgot. We have a live sale on the Soft Touch Company Facebook page tomorrow, October 18th at noon Pacific time. Yes, Janelle says live sale tomorrow. I know. They keep sneaking up on me. So we have our next live sale is tomorrow. So join us tomorrow at noon for our newest live sale on the Soft Touch Company Facebook page. Wednesday at 3 for a beading party on the Soft Touch Company Facebook page and YouTube channel. And then the Great Bead Extravaganza will be all weekends. I know. I get it, Melissa. We all have to make our choices on what we can and can't do right now. But the live sales are always fun to watch. I find them entertaining, and I like to ooh and ah along with you. Sometimes I can purchase some things, sometimes I can't. But either way, it's always fun to look at beads with friends. All right. Well, I'll see lots of you this week. Talk to you all soon. Have a lovely rest of your week, and I hope you guys are just hanging out in your pajamas, doing all the things in your PJs, your loungewear, as I was today. It was fun. Bye.